Hi, my name's Martin. In this tutorial, I shall walk you through an illustrated Hello World example for Diffusion Cloud. I'll first introduce a simple tool called the Producer that publishes values into Diffusion Cloud. After that, we shall walk through the consumer which subscribes to it, and then we shall publish a few new values and see the effects ripple through the system. This tutorial will be very brief, but afterwards you'll be ready to use some of Diffusion Cloud's most potent features. We think you'll be inspired and see dozens of ways Diffusion Cloud could become part of your own solution. To get the most from this, you need a Diffusion Cloud service, an understanding of the JavaScript language, an understanding of the publish and subscribe concept, and have both npm and Git installed. We're going to do three things: configure the Diffusion Cloud service, download and walk through the code, and then run it. Let's start with configuring the Diffusion Cloud service. Configuring the Diffusion Cloud service is very simple. For security reasons, a newly created service only allows authenticated sessions, that is, sessions connected with a username and a password. Let's change that here to allow connections without a username and grant them just enough permissions for this example. We'll see why this is necessary shortly. In the Anonymous Sessions section, open this dialog to change the setting from deny to allow, and we're done. This allows anonymous sessions to connect and subscribe to values. The example is written in JavaScript and is very brief, and even better, the code is in GitHub, so we don't have to type it in. First, we clone it from GitHub. Then we install the dependencies. I like to use VS Code, but you can use your favorite text editor. Let's look at the Producer tool. It connects a session to your Diffusion Cloud service and produces or publishes data into it. It will store the data in a topic. For now, think of a topic as a variable in the cloud with a name, a type, and a value. Firstly, and most importantly, we import the Diffusion library on line 2. From lines 4 to 8, we check that the user has supplied 5 command line arguments: the Diffusion Cloud hostname, a matching username and password, a topic name, and its value. So the tool is reusable. On line 9, we gather and name those arguments. Note that throughout the API, the terms principal and credentials are used in preference over username and password. Think of them as synonyms. On line 11, we connect a Diffusion session to the Diffusion Cloud host. And on line 15, we're in. Lines 16 and 17 establish the type information for the topic we're going to update or create. And line 19 does the real work. In one call, it instructs the server to update the topic with a new value, or creates a new topic with an initial value. The rest of it is being nice, catching and logging any errors. That's only 25 lines of code. Let's put it to work. We can run the Producer via npm. That's your Diffusion Cloud hostname, the principal and credentials, the topic name, and the value. And that's the Producer done. We have created our topic. Let's run it a few more times to change the value. Let's see how our consumer can consume and display the data. As the Producer produces data, this tool consumes it. It's also written in JavaScript and runs in a web page. This script builds a very minimal web server. Lines 1 to 3 import the Express.js framework. Lines 5 to 6 configure where to get the server's content. At line 8, we start the web server. And finally, at line 10, we open a web browser on its front page. Next, let's focus on what it's serving. On line 15, we load the Diffusion JavaScript library. Lines 17 to 18, these are the topic name and the Diffusion Cloud service hostname. Take a moment to change these to match your own Diffusion Cloud service. On line 23, we display the topic name. And now the magic happens. On line 25, we put the Diffusion API to work and we connect a session to the Diffusion Cloud service. Here on line 31, we have our connected session, which we then wire up to handle string updates from the topic. And on line 34, we display it in our web page. Finally, on line 38, we tell the server we're selecting the topic for updates, that we are subscribing to it. There's about 20 lines of pretty readable JavaScript in there. Let's see it put to work. We can see that it's displaying Hello World again as the topic value. So let's publish a change and we'll see the results in the web browser. We'll arrange the producer and consumer so we can see them both. I'll rerun the producer, but change the last argument, this time in Spanish. There. The consumer on the right, running inside the web page, updated immediately. And finally in Italian. Same again. The new value is pushed through from producer to consumer in real time. In 6 minutes, we walked through a working integration of Diffusion Cloud. We published values, subscribed to them, and displayed them. What next? Well, here are some ideas for further experiments. You can log into the Diffusion Cloud console as the admin user and look at the topic you created, change its value, observe your changes delivered to the consumer. You can start more consumers, observe the service delivering new data to all of them. If JavaScript is not your thing, write a consumer using one of our other SDKs. You can start more producers, deliver data to more topics, and try out the JSON and time series topic types. That's all for now. Happy coding!